Welcome, friends, fans, and family all around the world. We are live, large, and in charge here on the one and only Meticulous Moments. I am the maniacal maestro of the microphone, Old Dynamite, and now I'm going to turn it over to our fantastic host. Let's hear it for Miss Juanita Kapp.
My goodness, we are live. Good evening, everyone. We are so excited today to have Dynamite David Hardy with us. Thank you so much for making time and for that wonderful introduction, David.
Juanita, thank you so much for having me on here. Great honor to be here on Meticulous Moments. It's uh, it's been a heck of a week for old Dynamite and all the Dynamaniacs out there. We were just in New Orleans, Louisiana, doing some work with the Zurich Classic, a part of the PGA Tour. Now we made the long, arduous 5.5 hour journey to Shreveport, Louisiana, where we are today, where this weekend, Friday night, live from Sam's Town Casino, we've got AKA American Combat Alliance Mixed Martial Arts Cage Fighting, and what a night of fights it's going to be, hosted by yours truly, Old Dynamite.
I love that. I love that. That's definitely something to look forward to. I also love watching MMA fights, so I'll definitely be watching. You mentioned that it's going to be streaming worldwide.
Yes, you can check it out. Go check out the Fight app. It's FITE, Fight Plus pay per view. You can stream it all around the world. We've got 16 action packed fights coming your way. 2 championships will be on the line. It's going to be a wild night of hooking and jabbing, scooping and slamming, hanging and banging with AKA American Combat Alliance.
I love that. I love that. You know what I love about MMA? There's never a dull moment. I mean, I've watched fights and you just think it's over, and then, the fighter just recovers and swaps the fight and flips the script. And I guess it is amazing to be there to see that firsthand. So you mentioned that you did a fight in 2019 that streamed in South Africa.
Well, the fight in 2019 was on Showtime Sports. It was nationwide live here in the United States of America. The fighters in the main event was Devin Haney, and he took on Exolasani Ngangani. Exolasani being from South Africa, Showtime played the event live in South Africa that night as well for his fan base.
Absolutely, that's wonderful, amazing stuff. Never heard about that, but very excited to hear that the South Africans were also involved. I know MMA is also big here in our country, and I want to give a shout out to David Peace who connected us. We talked about you just now, David. Thank you for networking and connecting us because you are such a wonderful, genuine person. And it gives us the opportunity to bring this podcast together and to bring good out in this world and to bring information and speak to people's hearts.
Yeah, David's an incredible guy. I really enjoyed the short amount of time that I've known him now. And hearing his family lineage and his history, his grandfather, Jack Tubbs, and all he did, one of the pioneers and the icons there in Hollywood. So it was great to listen to his story and him share some of that, the adventures he had as a young man with his grandfather, and being around all those Hollywood stars and starlets from what was truly the golden era of the silver screen.
That's the truth. He grew up in the best time, in the best setting, I'm sure, meeting all those wonderful individuals that really impacted our lives in an indirect manner. When we are young, we are formed and shaped into the individuals that we become. And all of the productions they put forth really made our childhood colorful. It really impacted us in so many ways. I mean, we love to use, to watch the movies and use the phrases that they said, and dress like Elizabeth Taylor, and put up posters of Marilyn Monroe. So he was a very big key role in creating that as well, his grandfather as well. And I want to focus a bit on you today, Dynamite. I want to ask you, you are traveling, you are touching people's lives where you go, you are in the rings, you see the best of people, you see the worst of people, you see how hard athletes work to become, who they are, how much effort it takes, and what brought about this passion that you have, because you are passionate about what you do. That's why we call you Dynamite.
That's right. One of a kind, sure to blow your mind. Guaranteed to put a double wiggle in your behind. Old Dynamite MC extraordinaire, providing passion and professionalism, along with a little entertainment flair. It is. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love being in front of a large crowd. The big thing that drives me, Juanita, is I love making people happy. And sometimes when you're at a fight or you're at an event, folks are there. They're getting wrapped up in the energy, but not everybody is quite as an extrovert or outgoing as myself or some other folks. So sometimes it takes a little nudging, a little push to kind of get them out of the shell and to really revel in the moment. So sometimes the energy that I bring or the excitement or some of the playful antics that I do when I host an event will help you bring people out of that shell, really get them, out of their seat, on their feet, having a great time, be it a sporting event such as basketball, baseball, football, be it a fight, MMA, or boxing, even just a concert, festival, or a fundraiser. I try to bring that energy to everything because when you see the smile on somebody's face and you see them leaving very happy, you that short moment of time you had to spend with them touched their life. You brought them joy in life. And that's what makes me happy.
Absolutely. It sometimes just takes that little nudge to get people out of their comfort zone or to break the ice. And when people really relax in an environment, not that we're always relaxed when there's a MMA fight going on. I mean, I love watching them and I love cheering. But when you are in a good frame of mind, when you are relaxed while doing so, it brings enjoyment and it brings good memories. And I love the fact that there are martial artists out there that are good sportsmen. They show good sportsmanship, and they work. Both of them work as hard as they can, and it goes to one of the two. So, what would your advice be to martial artists who are upcoming martial artists who want to fight in the rings that you are, doing the announcement and emceeing? What is the key advice you would give them in this journey that they are on?
There's some aspects of the fight game that either those that aren't really intimately involved with fighting or combat sports, they kind of miss out on. One is the mental part of the game. It's very stressful for an up and coming fighter when you're just starting to learn the business and you're trying to grow your brand, your star power. Because as an amateur fighter, be it a boxer, be it a mixed martial artist, be it a kickboxer, these folks have families, they have regular jobs, they have responsibilities that they have to tend to every day, and they still have to find the time to go to the gym, to hone their skills, to get their nutrition, to get the lifting of the weights, to get the athleticism down, to learn how to cut the weight, to find their proper weight to cut at. So you've got to respect so much on the amateur side because they're carrying such a heavy load. Then once you get to the professional side and you rise up in one of the larger organizations to where you have enough income to where you're making a living off just your fighting prowess, then again, at that point, it becomes learning how to grow your brand so you put more butts in the seats. That's how you grow your income level. It's not always talent-based what gets the high-level fighters the championship bouts. It's not always talent-based what gets them the big paydays. It's how many fans can you bring to that event? If you're drawing a large crowd, the promoters are going to pay you the big check. And how do you do that? You make that personal connection with the audience. So you've got to grow your character, whatever that may be. Like myself, loud, boisterous, very entertaining, a little bit comedic, very, very exciting. So the Dynamite persona fits me very, very well. Each person has to find that character and really turn that up to 11 or 12. And you got to open yourself up a little bit sometimes. It's hard when you're in the public spotlight. It can be frustrating, but that is how you gain that fan base. When you open your let folks know those personal, those intimate details about you, it gives them more to latch onto, and it gives them more of a reason to feel like they have a connection to you. Therefore, they're going to support you, buy that ticket to see you fight. They're going to buy that ticket for you to watch their fight. They're going to buy your merchandise, your T-shirts, your hats, all that good stuff. So sometimes, it's hard for people, but you need to open yourselves up and make sure you're available to let those folks get to know you just a little bit.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And that's authenticity, being an authentic leader in society, being an authentic leader in your field. We have many people working in different fields out there. Some are martial artists, some are entrepreneurs, some are businessmen and women. That's a different thing completely. And you raised an important point. We often don't sit and think of the things that the fighters go through as amateurs or as professionals behind the scenes. because what we see is what happens in the ring. And I love the fact that you gave some background there, because that makes us think, it's a hard thing to do, to have a full-time job and to make time as an amateur fighter for all the other things that have to happen. And then also as a professional fighter, everything that's going on, how to market yourself. The world is so big, how to get out there. I agree. Be your authentic self. Do that. Build relationship building. I always hammer on. Very, very important. And talking about relationship building, I want to learn more. I know you have a special term for your beautiful two daughters. Would you like to tell the audience about your family and your children?
Well, myself carrying the moniker of Old Dynamite, my lovely two daughters, they are known as the Dynamettes. And that is one of the greatest titles I've ever had. In all my titles and the few accomplishments that I do have in my professional career, I love that. That's all great. But there's no title that I've ever had that I enjoy more than being called dad.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And family is so important. If we are running our family and really connecting and building our families, it sprouts out to every other area of our lives. And it's good to see. In many of the interviews that I've done, it's so heartwarming to hear dads and moms speak about how their children are so close to their heart, and how they really, spur us on to do better, to be better, to become better every day. And I want to ask you, you do a lot of traveling. How do you balance traveling and resting? How do you balance that out? Because I travel a lot, and I have to say, my last trip, I came back and I was a little bit tired, more than usual. How do you do it?
Well, as they say, there's no rest for the weary. You can sleep when you're dead. All those little phrases. That's kind of how it is when you're chasing the dream, when you're, your low level regional stuff, you're up and coming, trying to reach for that brass ring, trying to make it to the quote unquote big leagues. That's just something you've got to basically suck it up. Sometimes you don't get a lot of rest. Sometimes you're tired, you're frustrated, you don't want to be bothered. But then you got to remember, hey, you wanted this. This is what you wanted to go after. This is the dream you decided to pursue. This is the baggage that comes with it. So sometimes, now myself, when you see, let's say, a Hollywood movie star or a big professional athlete get a little frustrated when the fans are constantly coming at them, looking for an autograph, looking for this, looking for that. I truly, truly get it when you have no private life and you have no personal life, like the paparazzi stuff with the Hollywood people. I understand that side of it. But at the same time, these folks chose that role. I decided to be a leading man in Hollywood. I chose that career. Now, hey, I live like a god amongst men. I live like a king because I'm world renowned. I'm worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But guess what? There's a price to pay. There's pros and cons to everything. And the price you have to pay, the reason you have that star power, the reason you have those hundreds of millions of dollars and all the privileges that come with it is because of the fans that spend their hard-earned money to see you and support you. So that's just part of it. You've got to deal with that. If you're in an airport, somebody comes running up to you, hey, your head hurts, you're tired, you don't feel good, you still got to go through the motions.
That's it.
That's it. Professional athlete, let's say an NFL player, pro football player. Oh, I hate all I have to go through. But guess what? You give up that 40, 50, 60, $80 million a year contract, go be a plumber for about $30,000 to $50,000 a year, and nobody bothering you at the airport, and your knee won't be hurting as bad. And they're give and take. You want the money, you want the fame, that's part of it, comes with it. And myself, I'm one of those guys, the little bit of notoriety that I have gained and the fan base that I've got, all the Dynamaniacs out there, love all my fans. I'm a fellow, when I'm somewhere, I'm not leaving the building. There might be 2 people, there might be 200 people. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere until everybody that wanted to talk to me, take a picture with me, shake my hand, till I've gotten to every single one of them. And that's just how I am, because I'm so appreciative of the little bit that I have achieved, and that's all because of them, the fans.
That's the truth. That is the truth, and that is saying it the way it's supposed to be said, because your mindset is in the right place. And I love the fact that you said we'll sleep when we're dead, because my colleague the other day, because I work different hours than the time zone that I live in, I actually work American hours instead of South African hours. He made a joke and he said, yeah, we'll sleep when we're dead. But it's really, the late nights and the early mornings those sacrifices have to accompany what we do if we're really passionate about what we want to do, and we have that vision and that goal. And suddenly, when our mindset shifts, then all the other unimportant little things fade away, and we realize we're on the go and we're keeping that momentum. And we realize that we're not only just doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for our families. And I love the fact that you will stand in a crowd, doesn't matter how tired you are, you will assist and speak to and make every single person there feel valued. And I have to commend you. You know, I had a call with you over the weekend, and you were kind and friendly and open and accommodating. We almost started just chatting like I've known you so long. And that's your personality and your mindset. So thank you for that. I felt so welcome when we were talking.
Well, I'm glad I'm that way. Once again, it goes back to my mind. I love making people happy. I mean, right now, I've been hitting it pretty hard with the golf tournament over in New Orleans over the weekend. I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep last night, maybe 10 hours over the last 3 or 4 days total. And we've just got a plethora of media events lined up for me. I'll be on live television here in Shreveport tomorrow, live radio interview, still setting up the room for our show, our MMA cage and all that. But again, it goes back to that. It's part of it. It's kind of what you got to do. And see, like myself, I've always had to kind of find a way, and it's been challenging to balance family life and this. Had I got into the ring announcing and the microphone skills that I have now when I was a younger man, Lord knows where I would be. But by the time I really started to find the niche and I fell into the MMA world and I started getting inside the boxing ring, I was older. I was around 28, 29 years old. Already had my first daughter. So I couldn't go and travel as much as I wanted to because I had to be here with a regular job, taking care of my family. So I would try to limit the gigs that I would take in the Gulf South region of the United States, keep it to just the weekends. So I would work all week. I would coach both my daughters in all their recreational sports, 3 to 4 hours a night, 3 to 4 days a week, every weekend going somewhere doing a show to make extra money and also try to grow my brand and then rinse, wash, and repeat over and over and over. So I did that for about 15 years. And I knew I'd grown my profile, my brand as about as high as I could, because as a ring announcer or a cage announcer, as you get better and as you start to grow the ranks, the job opportunities get very, very limited. And the reason being, there's only a handful of jobs in the world that are contractual, working with a big company, say like the UFC or Top Rank Boxing or the NFL, one of those large companies. And all those jobs are taken. They've got fantastic announcers that are in those positions, like the Buffers and Mr. Lennon and all these other great guys out there. Well, that's their dream, just like mine. So they're not good where they're not good in that position. So here, about a year ago, I made the decision to go with one brand. I retired from a regular job. Now I'm part of the brand, American Combat Alliance. I'm the face, the voice of the company. I'm also the owner. We're making very, very hard push to grow our brand national. I have one of those big jobs because I've been able to grow my company to that level.
And you know, the first thing, there's two things I was thinking when you were explaining, and I absolutely love that. The first thing is, you know, you are here today on this podcast amidst all the moving parts that's happening at the moment. You've been between events. Thank you for that. And the second one is you're an entrepreneur because you saw what you wanted to do. You created your own vision. And the jobs that you listed here with the big companies, only the handful, you made another plan. You started your own brand and you've been working at that, you know, and that is how phenomenal is that? I mean, I'm sure you love what you do, and you know, you're building out your brand as we speak. Daily, making people's lives better, giving them the fun and the entertainment and the enjoyment that there is in sports. So when did you decide that you want to be an entrepreneur? Was it after the 15 years that you worked full time? Did you sit somewhere specific and it just dawned on you, or was it development over a few years?
It was something that was kind of starting to grow in the back of my mind. And as I really started to come to the realization that, hey, you kind of hit a plateau here. And I mean, I was working for several different promotions, traveling 4 or 5 states, working, I mean, consistently every weekend, 2 dates a weekend, 3 dates a weekend, doing professional wrestling, boxing, bodybuilding, MMA, concerts, festivals, fundraisers, public speaking events, was doing so much. But I started to realize, hey, this is about as big as it's ever going to get for you. I feel like I'm as talented as anybody out there that's ever picked up a microphone. I feel like I can compete with anybody out there. And at the same
Yes.
time, I'm very unique in what I do. I'm more of an
Yes.
entertainer than just an announcer. I'm in the
Yes.
crowd with my audience. I dance. I pick people up. We jump around the room. I'm very unique in my delivery and how I do my announcing at different events.
Yeah.
So I felt like this is my dream. I want to see how far I could take it. And that's when it came to, well, these other jobs aren't going to open up anytime soon. So I knew I needed to take a step. And now I'm learning every day on the entrepreneurial side, because before I was on the talent. I would show up, throw on the tuxedo, get out there, do what I do, roll on down the street to the next one. Now I'm learning more and more and more about what truly goes on behind the scenes, contractual negotiations, finding networks, streaming events, working with sponsors, scouting new venues, new casino partners to help grow our brand. So I'm learning things every day. And my fantastic partners, Amber and John Bishop, they are absolutely great. And we're all learning every day. And we all have such great passion for what we do that I think I know we're going to be successful. You'll be hearing more about Bishop Fight Promotions and AKA American Combat Alliance. I can promise you. Now, we talk a lot and so forth, but a great part about what I do is at the regional level, these are where fighters are getting those opportunities that will get them noticed by the big leagues, by Bellator, by UFC, by Top Rank Boxing, those kind of companies. So when they're out here fighting for us, I love the fact that I can give these fighters that large 20,000 seat arena feel. I can give them that big proper introduction that they'll be receiving when they do make it to the next league. Because right now, their mom, their cousin, their neighbor, their crazy Uncle Bob, everybody's watch them and support them on their journey up. So if I can give them that special moment when they step my ring, make them a Conor McGregor's type superstar, that's fantastic. Well, I know I have something special in their life, because there's no in this business, and fighters that big looking for. So if as big as it gets is when they're inside the ring with me, I try to make them feel like they're on the largest stage in the world and the best possible presentation.
I love that. David, Dynamite. Imagine how they feel when they walk out in that arena and they know this is it, and you are there, getting the crowd excited, that feeling that they must have, that adrenaline rush. And it is really a step for them, to a higher level. You are elevating, you are uplifting their sport, you're uplifting their brand, and you're bringing upliftment through everything that you do. Even as an entrepreneur, I had an interesting interview the other day with someone, and we mentioned that I don't think that most people realize what the importance and significance is of entrepreneurs out there, because we are impacting society, we are edifying society, and we are creating better opportunities. And I see, with you, I see that you started your business, you're an entrepreneur, you found your niche. Because Dynamite, there isn't another ring announcer and another MC like you. There's only one of you. That's your niche, the way you approach it. There's one Dynamite. And after you found your niche, what have you been doing? You've been scaling and getting into all the intricacies and the behind the scenes. And that's exactly the growth process that an entrepreneur, a healthy entrepreneur, goes through. What's your favorite part about scaling?
Well, I can tell you this, going on the entrepreneurial side, I've heard this saying a lot, and I'm starting to realize it more now. There's nobody on planet Earth that can give you a definite 100% recipe for success. It does not exist. But I can give you a recipe for failure, and that's to try to please everybody. You can't make everybody happy. You've got to do what you know works, stay to your plan and what you've learned and what works for you, and run with that. But yes, thus far, sometimes it's not always the destination that gives us that fulfillment in life we're looking for. A lot of times it's the journey. When you look back, when you finally achieve those goals, when you finally climb that mountaintop, you're all the way up where you always wanted to be. It's when you look back down. It's all those times you slipped, you fell, you had that carabiner locked in and you almost fell off the mountainside as you were going up, or you got snowed in going up Mount Everest in your tent that night, didn't know if you were going to freeze to death. That's when you look back. Sometimes it's the journey. And I'm experiencing that journey right now. And it has not been without trials and tribulations. There are days you get up and second guess yourself. My goodness, what have I done? Have I put my family in jeopardy by, chasing something that means more to me maybe than it does to them, my own selfish ambitions? And that's my biggest fear. I don't want to put my family, my daughters, my wife in a bad situation financially because I'm chasing my little childhood ambitions. So that motivates me to go even harder and drive myself even harder. And it's hard
Yes.
sometimes because in business, you have to have somewhat of a ruthless attitude from time to time. You've got to be cutthroat. You've got to be hard-nosed. And sometimes that's hard for me. I'm such a giving individual. I enjoy meeting people so much. Like I told you, I enjoy making people happy. Sometimes it's hard to really put that foot down and just take that hard line, that hard stance, and really, be tough with somebody. It really can. Myself, I didn't get any help coming up through the ranks. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone that taught me how to do what I do. I just kind of went out there, tried different things. What worked, I kept it with me. Some nights you would fall on your butt. Okay, we're not going to do that again. So I've met some younger guys or some other folks trying to cut their teeth in the announcer world like I did. And I've opened a lot of doors for some fighters, for some promoters, for some other announcers out there. I mean, a lot of promotions I used to work for, I kind of handpicked my replacement to take my place in those other promotions. And now that young man is blowing up. He's doing fantastic. Everybody's kind of forgot about old Dynamite all of a sudden. But that makes me feel good to know that I helped somebody else to achieve their dreams or better their success in life, where I kind of did that myself. I keep scratching. Right? So if I can go or make it a little easier for the next year or a little bit that I have, I do that. Now, sometimes that lights in the
And it's true what you say. As we rise, we lift. And that's really our heart. Here, also at this podcast, we love talking about leadership, gratitude, community upliftment. And yes, you opened those doors through your good heart and your hard work because you laid the foundation. But as you are rising, that's the beautiful thing. You are lifting others. And you mentioned something, you said two things that struck me that's very, very important, is that you stay true to yourself and your family, and you keep at it. You keep working at it because, yes, not every day is a great day. Not every day is a productive day. Not every day is a successful day. But guess what? All the others that were, they add up and they help us up that ladder and they help us to learn. I think being an entrepreneur, I'm sure you'll agree with me, Dynamite, is very character shaping. It shapes our character in ways that we never thought possible.
When you have everything riding on something that there's no guarantees in, especially in the world of entertainment, which I mean, that's what combat sports is like anything else. It is entertainment at its core. It can really test you. I mean, it can define your character. You find out just how strong of a person you maybe didn't think you were, that you can be, because there are days. I mean, it's very, very tough, but you have to find a way to push through and keep moving forward. For one, to achieve those goals that you set for yourself, but two, to make sure that you are able to take care of and provide for those that depend upon you.
Yeah, true, true. And people look at us, they look at the leaders out there and they look at people doing different things, the pioneers, for lack of a better word, because you're a pioneer in your field. You started something, your niche is completely different. You started your own business and you are going at it effectively every single day. And looking back, over the years that I've been doing business, I'm thinking to myself, it really changed me, but in a positive manner. it let me really sit down and think, what do other people go through behind the scenes? And like you, it is difficult for me sometimes to put my foot down or to be hard nosed because, I have compassion, but we get to a place where we realize we have to make a difficult decision. We have to make a difficult, announcement. And that happens. That's part and parcel of what we do. But on the other side, it's amazing to see people's lives transform and to really help people and see that joy on their faces. And you bring that joy, Dynamite, because people love your entertainment that you bring. And I want to ask you, leadership wise, who was a very important, impactful leader in your life when you were growing up, or maybe later in your life as a young adult?
There's there's been several. I've had some family members. Of course, I had a stepfather and my real father. They were a big influence on me as a young man coming up. Few teachers in high school. One, I'll go back my freshman, kind of what got me started on this path. My freshman year in high school, I lived in a small town called Ponchatoula, Louisiana. Graduated from that school in 1996. So my freshman year in 1992, I joined an agriculture education class, ag class. We had a teacher, Mr. Lawrence Powell. We were sitting in class one day, and I was just talking in my normal voice, like I always do. And he came up and he approached me. He said, "Son, you speak pretty well. We have a competition called extemporaneous public speaking. I'd like you to take part in it." I said, "Well, I don't know what that word you just said to me means, but hey, I'll give it a try." So we went and I competed in my first event. I took third place and I kind of really got a rush. I really got into it. So I kept competing. In extemporaneous public speaking, they give you a set of topics to choose from. You pick one topic, you have 30 minutes to prepare, and you have to present a 5-minute speech in front of a group of panel of judges. So I got to be pretty good at that. That led to my sophomore year, maybe my junior year of high school. I remember the PA announcer for our football team. Something had happened. I don't know if he just quit or left. So the principal calls me to the office one day, said, "Hey, don't you do the speaking competition for ag?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "Well, this Friday night, you're going to be the announcer for the football team." Okay, sure. Let's try. Let's saddle up and ride. Here we go. So I did that. That went over pretty well. Next thing you know, the basketball coach called me and asked me to start doing basketball games for him. So I did that throughout high school and I started working with other high schools. So as a young man, I kind of got a taste for it and I knew I really, really liked it. But then once I graduated high school, I went to join the military for a bit. And then things happen as you're a young man out there kind of feeling out the world, who you are. Sometimes life gets in the way. Went through several years of jobs and relationships and this, that, and the other. Finally met my wife and we got married. And working selling luxury vehicles in a town where I live now called Covington, Louisiana. Fella came in. I was selling him and his wife an Infinity SUV. And as we were talking, once again, it came out, "Hey, you got a pretty good voice." He said, "You ever watch The Ultimate, the cage fighting on television?" I said, "Yes, sir. I'm a huge fan." I said, "Also do a little local radio work here doing basketball and football play-by-play on the radio." He said, "Well, man, I need an announcer for my fighting promotion. Would you like to give it a try?" I said, "Well, if the frog's butt watertight, let's try it." So I went down there. My first night, very green, didn't know what I was doing. I did the best I could. And other promoters, as they wanted to get going in South Louisiana, kind of like what I asked me to hire me to do their show. And from there, of Dynamite grew. So it's funny where opportunity comes from, you never see it. And that's something I always tell people. Don't scoff at any opportunity that's presented to you. And another story I can give you on that, I was doing an MMA event one night. We were in a small rodeo arena. It was all dirt floors. Normally, there's horses and cows coming to this building, but these folks rented it, decided to do an MMA fight there. I remember getting dressed in the back. I'm putting my tuxedo on. Cow, and the cow, I put my tuxedo on. Well, I came I did my opening presentation, and the fellow with a very, very, very deep accent. He said, "I love what you did. That was fantastic. I'm producing a movie. I'd love to see my movie." He gave me a card. I didn't know anything about it. Told about 2 weeks later, I got a phone call, was in that movie, had my own dressing room, they had a star, star. It was such a great experience. Never saw something like the thing we were in. So, sometimes we get wrapped up in the glitz of the glamour. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been in a Superdome, the King Center, every major museum and sporting event in Louisiana, Mississippi, in that little bitty dirt rodeo arena. It got me into a movie.
Wow.
My grandkids one day, I made a pretty good heyday out of it as well.
Absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal. Yes, yes. Never despise the day of small beginnings and never let an opportunity pass you by. That is the truth. That is the truth. Support wherever you can. Be excited about the ventures of other people because you never know the opportunity that will arise from that. And you're a living example of that. And I thought to myself when you were, discussing how you started when you were younger, I thought to myself, the moment you touched that microphone, Dynamite, the writing was on the wall.
The
You
magic
are
right
destined.
there.
You are destined to be a public speaker and to do great, great things. And I would also like to invite you to future projects that I'm busy with as a public speaker because you do a lot of public speaking in different fields. You also do other sports. So would you like to list that for the audience members? Maybe they only logged in now in our interview. What events do you normally do and public speaking, anything that you would like to advertise?
Oh, I've worked with the NCAA Final Four. I had a gig working within the men's basketball national championship, collegiate national championship. I was able to do that for a little over 5 years. I worked with the NBA All-Star break when they came down to New Orleans back in 2014. I've called a couple of Louisiana State high school football games for radio simulcast inside the Louisiana Superdome. I'm one of those guys, I've always said it. Sometimes it comes off as a little arrogant. It's not intended that way, but there's nothing I can't do with a microphone. You give me a microphone, point a camera in my face, get out the way, and let old Dynamite run live, large, and in charge, wide open, hard, loose, and free. We will get it done. It's just a natural ability that I have. It's something that I love doing so much. But I tell you, at the same time, it can be very frustrating because you feel like, okay, the good Lord gave me this talent. The good Lord gave me this voice that I've honed into a talent over the years for a reason. But at the same time, it can become so frustrating because you feel like, okay, God, you gave me this gift and I'm doing everything I can, but yet I still haven't got to where I want to be. I still haven't got to where I'm making, a good, comfortable living with it. So it gets very frustrating. You feel like you gave me this, but yet you're making it so hard for me to get where I want to be with it. So it can really get inside the head sometimes. And it's hard sometimes as well. I don't know if jealousy is the right word because I'm very supportive and I'm very happy to see anybody succeed, and especially of my colleagues in this industry as well. But at the same time, individuals just kind of are big gigs with big companies and sit back.
Yeah.
Back to the ego situation. You got to kind of check that at the door, but it's not that it's always sunshine. I guess is the only point I'm trying to get across. Just like anybody else, I mean, old Dynamite's as fallible as the next guy. I have insecurities from time to time. I'll never let it show in front of anybody, but we've all got our insecurities. We all have our daily drama that we deal with, and we all have demons that we have to battle day to day. So if anybody out there might be watching or tuning in, look, don't ever, some of those folks that you put up on a pedestal, your heroes, the folks that you love, don't think that they're impervious to pain or they're impervious to having hard times. Everybody has a struggle. Everybody has a battle they're fighting. So always be supportive of folks. Don't be condescending. Don't be too quick to judge someone because you never know what they're with in their personal life. Myself, sometimes that is my mask that I can put on when I'm feeling the worst personally, or my heart is hurting, or my soul is just down in the dumps. Me being able to go out and project that false happiness sometimes and make other people happy and get them excited is something. It will help me get through it. So again, it's like the mask put on to hide sorrow is by going out and making other people happy.
Yeah, that's the truth. And those are words of wisdom right there. And I want to thank you, Dynamite, for bringing that to the table because I believe that people want to hear that other people are also going through something. I think often we see on social media, we see lots of things, and it seems like everything is always 100% even better with others. And then we go through struggles and we have pain or we have emotional turmoil or sadness and we think what's wrong with us because we are feeling this way. No, listen to what Dynamite is saying. We all have things that we are facing. We all have struggles. We all have to stay in prayer. We all have to pray and trust the Lord, to carry us through and strengthen us, whatever it might be. It might be a family problem. It might be a business problem. It might be an emotional problem or a mental state that we are in. But the point of the matter is to never give up, to realize that we are all fallible human beings and there's always a light at the end of that tunnel. There's always a silver lining around that dark cloud. And you were talking about persona and putting on that mask, and that's a coping mechanism, and it's not a bad thing. It's actually a very good way to approach life. Because when I've counseled people over the years, I was a pastor for 15 years. You know what I taught them? I taught them to, in that dark tunnel that they are in that state of depression. Sometimes people face depression or anxiety or family problems and they don't know what to do. I taught them to look in that dark tunnel for that one little positive thing, that one little light, that one little ray of sunshine, and to put all their focus on that, and to feel their breakthrough and to experience or already imagine how the problem is resolved. And when we focus on that silver lining, it's like we forget about the other things. We get through that day, and tomorrow we get through one more day, and the day after that we get through one more day, and before we see it, we are through it. And I want to thank you for inspiring the Meticulous Moments audience, for being you, your authentic self, for being such a humble, beautiful person, a family man. Your morals and your values speak to us, and we are going to continue cheering you on this wonderful journey. Would you like to speak to the audience about upcoming projects or where we can support or uplift you? Because you're always uplifting others. How can we support you?
Well, just me personally, you can always find me on different social media sites. I'm not very talented with the social media, but from time to time, I do get things up there. My real name is David Hardy Jr., Hardy. So you can find Dynamite David Hardy, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, those things. I've got a YouTube page with a couple videos on there if you ever want to kind of go back and see some of the things that old Dynamite does. But please check out and support us at AKA American Combat Alliance. Find us on all the social media sites as well. Go to our website, akafights.com. And this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an entertainment explosion. Get ready for an avalanche of awesomeness, because Friday, April 28th, aka 28, will be live, large, and in charge from Sam's Town Casino in beautiful Shreveport, Louisiana. And we're going to be live worldwide on Fight Pay-Per-View Plus. That's right, FITE. Make sure you buy the pay-per-view, tune in, check out old Dynamite and all the fantastic fighters live, mixed martial arts at AKA 28, American Combat Alliance.
I love that, David. You are so good at what you do, and it is so entertaining. And I'm glad because I'll be able to watch the fights as well. Looking forward to watching that and seeing you there, praying for you and your team and your family, cheering you on. And I mean, you opened this Meticulous Moment session. Would you do us the honor of closing out the session for us for today? Thank you so much for being an amazing guest.
Yes, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all so much for tuning in once again here to Meticulous Moments. On behalf of Miss Juanita Kapp and the entire staff, my name is Dynamite, saying thank you all so much for tuning in. God bless you and good night.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much, Dynamite. See you soon. Woo! Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the U.S., in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members, growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Ellis. I'm from the Thought Provoking Change community. I am honored and humbled to be a sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, brought to you by the one and only Juanita Kapp. It is such a joy and privilege to be on this journey with you, and I look forward to seeing where it takes not only Meticulous Moments, but also Thought Provoking Change. Looking forward to this partnership. You're a great person with a great podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Rude. I'm the owner of Rude Financial Services, a proud sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, hosted and directed by the beautiful, strong, and intelligent Juanita Kapp. I cannot tell you enough about what this woman has done with this podcast and the effect that she has had on me and all of the other sponsors and people that listen. Don't miss it.